We're going to get right into the Lions and the Bears. Of course, yesterday was my best case scenario. I said before the weekend, best case scenario, the Vikings beat the Packers, which would, of course, clinch the Lions as the fourth place team in the NFC North division. And then also the Lions get the win against the Bears. And, of course, because the Vikings won, these two teams tie. The Vikings won both matchups between these two teams in the regular season, so the Vikings get the tiebreaker. So it's a good way for the Lions to end the season on a high note. And at the same time, they finish dead last in the division and get a much easier schedule for next year, which will be something that we probably talk about tomorrow in terms of, analyzing the Lions season as a whole and where do they go from here. The Lions season autopsy, if you will. That's going to be coming up tomorrow. But anyways, Lions get the job done on the road. 19-16, they beat the Bears. They sweep the season series with the Bears. And, hey, it just felt like we were finally watching the Lions again. And I've said that, a couple of times. It's only been twice, really, post All-Star break. Again, we'll talk about this tomorrow. That's kind of where things started to fall apart for this Lions team on the season. Whole second half of the season, really. But the matchup against the Cowboys and then this one against the Bears, it felt like Lions football again. Now, they didn't necessarily light up the scoreboard in the way that you would expect the Lions team to do so, but make no mistake. I think the Lions dominated this game. The scoreboard was a lot closer than the scoreboard would have indicated. I think the biggest problem for the Lions in this game was the ability to finish drives. But otherwise, again, the Lions just completely washed the Bears in this one. Talk about Ben Johnson, what he's been able to do with this Bears team. This Bears team became one of the best offensive teams in the NFL, and they've just been, red hot, especially the second half of the season. They just hung 38 points in a losing effort against the 49ers. They've just been able to really play very efficient football. And think about some of the key plays they've been able to make to squeak out wins, especially against the Packers, some of those big wins. To hold that offense to 0 points through 3 quarters, really, is just impressive. And, the Lions holding firm, defensively getting stops throughout the first half. And something that I liked to see for a change for this Lions team, they didn't go for it on fourth down a single time. Now, the times that they were on fourth down, they, weren't really in a spot to go for it, really. It's not like it was like a 4th and 1, 4th and 2. You're at the, 30 or 40-yard line in Bears territory to try to keep the drive alive, or, you're in the red zone. It wasn't any situations like that, but it just felt good to see this Lions team just take the points, just take the bloody points. Because, we've seen that in the past this season a couple of times now where, they end up going for it on fourth down, doesn't work, and, as a result, if you retroactively just take the points, the game could have had a much different result. So it's been, it was really nice to see them just take the points. Obviously, Jake Bates missed that field goal going into halftime. That would have definitely helped. But, hey, taking the points, only the one touchdown in the game. Otherwise, it was just a bunch of field goals. And Jake Bates able to make the one that counted, of course, the most right as time expired to get the Lions the win. And again, most importantly, they held the Bears in check defensively, which again, this Lions team defensively, the last several weeks with these injuries piling up, been horrific, but completely shutting down this high-octane Bears offense. I love to see it. Love to see the defense really finish the year strong, and then offensively, despite the inability to finish drives, again, they looked like the Lions again. Look at this. 433 yards to 270 for the Bears. The running game finally it's been, over a month since we've had this running duo actually have some success. Jahmyr Gibbs with 80 rushing yards, David Montgomery, 8 carries for 42. I mean, that's still, that's still a little bit of a low number, honestly, for David Montgomery that I would like in terms of carries. But, I mean, I thought he played very solid as well. But finally, the running game getting going, and you could just see the difference it makes when the Lions are able to have some nice running penetration, getting some consistent good gains, 5, 6, 7 yards, getting these first downs, extending these drives, running the clock, importantly. The time of possession dominated by the Lions, over 11-minute difference in favor of the Lions for the time of possession. But you could just see how it opens up the offense a lot more. When the run game is a threat, it's working. That helps the pass protection with Jared Goff. He's not going to have as many blitzes as often, has more time to make his throws, and we could see the results. Just the one interception. I did think that was a bad decision by Goff there. Again, a chance in the fourth quarter to really put the game away. But the interception, of course, keeping the game alive for Chicago. Again, credit to the defense after that, forcing a big stop against the Bears. Of course, I mean, they really did themselves in with the intentional grounding penalty. The Bears, of course. But, that Goff, that throw, I thought that was a bad decision going deep. I mean, you had just like 10 yards ahead of him, you had a wide open Isaac Tesla. Yeah, I think would have been a better decision on that throw. But regardless, team able to have his back defensively and not let the Bears, make the Lions pay as a result of that play. And again, just a terrific game by this Lions team. A lot more of a domination, in my opinion, than the scoreboard showed. But at the end of the day, they made plays on both sides of the ball in all facets, all three phases, which really, honestly, we'll get to this tomorrow as well. Really not many games, unfortunately, this season that we've seen all three levels, offense, defense, and special teams, all put it together in the same game. And yesterday, I think, was an example of a game that I think it all did come together. Again, I'm just really pleased with the way this Lions team was able to finish the season. You kind of stopped some momentum from the Chicago Bears a little bit. They were kind of one of the, hotter teams in the second half of the season. And now the Bears going to the playoffs against the Packers, which, I mean, the Packers, they're not necessarily going into the playoffs with all this momentum either. But, I mean, hey, finishing the season strong, ending on a high note, maybe get you some momentum going into the following season. I mean, we saw that happen a couple years ago after pretty much eliminating the Packers from the playoffs, last game of the 2022 regular season, and you could see that was after that 1-6 start. The Lions went on a red-hot run in the second half of the year, unfortunately coming just short of the playoffs, but they still finished with a winning record. They finished with a win, gave them some momentum going into the following season, and you saw what they were able to do, able to make a pretty good run into the NFC Championship game. So, again, I've been really, upset with how the team has been playing the last month, but I think the way that this team played yesterday, gives me a little bit of hope for next season, especially the fact that they were able to do so and at the same time clinch the worst record in the division and give them a much easier schedule than the schedule that they had this year. We'll just say that. I think, honestly, this Lions team, should hopefully be in a better spot next season. Think the transition from 2022 to 2023, I think, honestly, we could see something similar with this Lions team next year. But again, great win. 19-16, sweeping Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears, and hopefully stifle their momentum a little bit going into the postseason.
If you missed today's installment of On the Docket, podcast it at foxsports1019.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to tune in live weekdays at noon on Jackson's Fox Sports 101.9 FM.